Goddamn.
Man, man, what is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing here today on your 254th episode of Unscripted, man? How's everybody doing here today? As we have, man, you know, Raw. Raw this week wasn't too bad, man, but I don't know, man. Maybe the reason my spirits are a little down is because right before we started, I have just pulled up my AEW Dynamite notes from June 25th, and then
Yeah.
it instantly came back to me. Holy shit, was that show boring? But regardless, how's everybody doing here today? And yes, hope you guys are doing all right, man. If this is your first time watching and you guys do not know how the show works, every Tuesday at noon Central, we are on here with Unscripted. Every Friday at 3 p.m. Central, we are on here with the news and for the pay-per-views for both WWE and AEW. We are live directly afterwards with the post-show review. If you guys did miss this past Saturday's version of the Night of Champions post-show review, you guys can now watch that as well as the news from last week on all platforms. That is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you want to see it first, join us right here live every Friday at 3 p.m. Central, and after the WWE and AEW pay-per-views for the post-show reviews, man. Now, if you guys have not got a chance to get your hands on some of the official NHP merchandise, you guys can now watch this live on the merch shop. That is bonfire.com. Link is at the top of the description of this very video where you can get this beautiful piece of Notorious Hills merchandise, like I said, live on the merch shop as we speak, man. So, with that being said, if this is your first time watching, guys, do not know who we are here at Notorious Heels. I'm Johnny, one half of the host of this very show, and as for the other half, we got my man Sir K here. And without any further ado, Sir K, go ahead, tell us what you're smiling about.
What am I smiling about? That's a great question. Yeah, just been chilling, man. Just been chilling. Been pretty normal waiting for these pay-per-view weekends, the next pay-per-view weekend coming up. All in Evolution. I'm excited. But other than that, things have been just pretty normal. Um, so everything's been pretty normal, man. Been pretty normal lately. But like Durante always asks, how's life? How's the family? Life's good. Family's good. How is everybody doing in the live chat? How's everyone doing watching the replay? What about you, bro? How are you doing?
Well, I am actually a little shocked. I'm a little shocked. Right before we went live here, I ended up finding out about some of the recent NBA free agency moves so far this offseason. Found out that Al Horford's probably going to Golden State, which is interesting. Probably a decent pickup for them. And today I fucking found out that the Bucks waived Damian Lillard. So that is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy, bro. And speaking of that, they acquired Miles Turner. So it's going to be interesting to see where Indiana goes from here. Also interested to see where Milwaukee goes from here. So that should be interesting. I wonder where well, Dame's probably out all next season, so I wonder where he's going to end up signing to, but kind of crazy. They waived the man literally maybe a month since he's torn his Achilles. So, damn, kind of
Hey,
sucks.
that's
Kind of
rough.
sucks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but uh yeah, it's interesting, man. They got to break up all these teams because the NBA's got these new rules on teams going into the luxury tax, so they don't want teams, I guess, paying out the ass for all these different contracts and stuff. So a lot of good teams are probably
Really?
gonna have to be broken up. Yeah, it's real weird
Hmm.
now. Like they I think they lowered how much you can like spend on your roster because I think Boston Boston had to break up their team this year like crazy, like damn near fucking traded majority of their starters because I think their projected salary for all their starters was $500 million. So yeah, they can't go above a certain point now. So a lot of teams have gotta be broken up. So it's crazy, bro. But it's crazy. But yeah, so
Maybe Tony
interested.
Khan should fucking have that.
Maybe Tony Khan should have a fucking luxury tax on fucking how much he could pay his roster or not, because yeah, that would actually probably solve a lot of his fucking problems. um, but but yeah, man. So other than that, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I thought it was fake, bro. I thought it was fake when I first seen it, man, but it's actually real. But regardless, I am doing good. As Toronto has asked, I'm good. Family's good. What about you, Toronto, Logan, Bell? Anybody here in the live chat? My guys are part of the Replay Mafia, JT and JB. Thank you guys as always for joining us. And yeah, doing good, bro. Doing good. Like Sir K just said, man, just kind of waiting for well, we got the 4th of July coming up this Friday, which is fun. Which is yeah, like I said, that's fun. Always love the 4th for the 4th, and then obviously you guys know it's my grandfather's birthday. Heavenly birthday. So always just like celebrating that day and just reminiscing and stuff. So yeah, other than that, man, and then obviously the week after that, we got a big double pay-per-view weekend with All In and Evolution. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, speaking of All In, the build to All In.
What is that? Is the real question.
What is that, you may ask? I got the answer. Bam!
Oh shit! I don't think Tony has the
AEW
answer.
Dynamite is the answer. Because this build to All In has been second to none. It's been an absolute barn burner of a build with 3 fucking weeks. Wait, what are we at? Yeah, this would be 3 fucking weeks until their biggest show of the year. Holy shit. This build is awesome. Man.
Dude, second to none. Want to know why? Because there is none.
Fuck. Man. Oh
Like,
my
man,
god.
like we've been having our complaints about like WWE television lately about how stale it is, man. But at least there's like something to talk about every week with like
Yes.
Raw and SmackDown, man. But dude, Dynamite just happens, bro. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a state of a show where it literally just exists and you don't even think about it.
And you don't feel anything
You don't feel anything.
when you're watching it.
Anything. Which is funny because like their pay-per-views this year, besides Dynasty, have been good. I've enjoyed the AEW pay-per-views usually a little more than the WWE pay-per-views overall this year, man.
Yeah.
But dude, their weekly television is just oh man.
Yeah, I don't know what the blueprint is nowadays for these wrestling promoters and their weekly TV, but and it's like WWE can put on weekly TV, man, when and things can be interesting, but WWE's had a problem this year on making other characters interesting. It almost feels like if Roman or Punk's not around, or Cody, it's hard for them to. It's hard for the. I mean, even this year with like people like well, Cody's been very good this year, but like even this year with like people like Seth, it's like they have a hard time trying to keep things like interesting. Um, I mean they've tried with Seth, and I mean some of it's been interesting, but rather times it's interesting when it begins and then it just kind of dies out and they kind of just let it die out. Um but yeah, I mean I don't know what their blueprint is for weekly TV, but whatever blueprint he was using in Triple H, whatever blueprint he was using in 2018, I would like for him to go back to that, because again, it was just he was just so much more capable of keeping things interesting and whatnot. But as far as Tony goes, I don't know what to tell him, man. I mean, this is um
This is insane.
yeah, this is pretty insane work. I can't lie to you, man. b- yeah, I'm looking at a little bit of it now, and it's obviously bringing back horrible memories because, yeah, this was yikes. This was a pretty boring week, man. This was a pretty fucking boring week. It's just to that point. It's just kind of like that. This is all you got. 3 fucking weeks before All In. This is what you have. So
Fucking bullshit, fucking Hangman and Beast Mordos is all you can come up with. Like, what?
I'm looking, man, like that is what that's genuinely what you chose for the main event of this show. 3 weeks before All In, Hangman and Beast Mordos is what you have for the main event of Dynamite.
Like, what?
I mean, there's
Like, the,
just, I mean, come on, man. I mean, Hangman is 3 weeks away from taking the championship from John Moxley, so we think. And this is what he's doing 3 weeks. And this is part of the reason why I've been saying, like, I wouldn't be so sure Hangman is gonna win, because it's just it's it sort of reminds me of the build up to Mania 39. Now, the difference between this and the build up to WrestleMania 39 is, in my opinion, WrestleMania 39 is one of the greatest manias of all time, and the build to that was actually fucking insane. But during that build, they never gave you the sense that Cody was gonna win. You know what I mean?
no.
It didn't feel like this was the end of Cody's or of Roman's title reign. And what ended up happening? It ended up not being the end of Roman's title reign. He would go on to carry the championship another year. And like I said, the difference between that and this is fucking that was actually good. This shit sucks, but it doesn't give me the sense that, like, all right, Hangman is actually going into Texas to, dethrone John Moxley. I don't know.
No,
It
it
just
doesn't.
it really just gives me the vibe of, you know, another Moxley championship match that it's like LOL Moxley wins. Like, we know. I don't know. It's just it gives me a weird vibe going into it.
Does. It does, especially when I saw Sting was talking on an interview about like Darby climbing Mount Everest, and he mentioned he filmed something up there that he can't talk about yet. And I was just thinking that's 100% a Mox promo he filmed up there, 100%. And why else would he film that? Because he's gonna come back and be the one to beat him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think
Or you
Hangman's
know
winning,
what?
dude.
Or you know what? Moxley's gonna win, and at the end of the show, the lights are gonna go dark, and we're gonna see a promo vignette on Mount Everest
Yep.
from Darby Allin. So, did Sting
Mhm.
say Darby filmed something, or did Sting say he went over? He went to film something over there.
He said that Darby filmed something at the
Okay.
top of Mount Everest.
Oh, at the top. Oh, okay. I was gonna say. I hope Sting's not at the at the top of Mount Everest. I wasn't sure if maybe he went like at the start of it to film something, but okay, he filmed something at the top of Mount. Yeah, I mean and that's the thing. I could very well see, which, you know, I actually I know a lot of people want to pass on Darby. I've been an advocate for Darby, but again, I've also said, if it's not by All In, it kind of just sucks because timing's kind of just bad for Darby. You know not because it's Darby, but because I just don't know we can go until October with John Moxley as world champion. But so if that's the case, obviously then it can't be Darby. But that's my thinking. Tony Khan, Tony Khan, obviously, from the looks of it, man. He seems pretty down for John Moxley, bro. He seems pretty down for John Moxley. So again, excuse me, we've actually said before any other content creator that I've seen, we've been saying it for kind of a while now. Do not be shocked if John Moxley ends up holding the championship until Wrestle Dream, because they like to do that show in Washington, and obviously Darby's from Washington, so, and that was the place, a year prior where, Brian, you know, ended up getting retired by the Death Riders and the Moxley title reign started. We also heard a couple months into it that John Moxley was planned for a lengthy title reign. And we said it way before that, pretty much like the beginning of the year, man. Like, don't be shocked if this goes on till Wrestle Dream. Which again, I would obviously love to see Darby get the championship. But man, it just kind of sucks because timing doesn't match up. But again, man, it seems like Tony Khan is willing to make those exceptions to make Darby work. But um, I don't know, man. I don't know with this John Moxley title reign. I really. I really feel it's gonna. I just really feel it's gonna open up a lot for AEW, and it's going to really help them a lot when you get that championship off of him.
I think it will. I think that'll help the weekly television a whole lot more. Because you literally the way they have, the Death Riders act and their whole thing, you literally don't see that world title at all because that's like his point. And you could tell, man, you could tell, and I think TV will be better when this whole story is done in probably in October.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, I would love for Darby to be the guy, but um yeah, and if you ask me, man, I don't know. I believe maybe the time might have passed him, but again,
Yeah, but
that is just my way of thinking. But yeah, Tony Khan could be very willing to make those exceptions for Darby, which again, if he did film something at the top of Mount Everest, it's probably some sort of return promo for John Moxley. So I don't know. Hopefully, man. Hopefully we see the guy back soon and figure out what they got going on. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't give me the vibe, man. It's not giving me the vibes that Adam Page is gonna be winning that match. So Dynamite opens up with Tony Storm. Tony Storm is walking through the back with Luger, and she is attacked by none other than Mercedes Moné. She's attacked by Moné. She's attacked through the backstage area and up to the what is it? Out to the stage. She's attacked out to the stage. Mercedes puts her in the crossface, which Tony Storm was on her back. If that makes any sense to any of you, it didn't make sense to me either. She was on her back in the crossface, and like Mercedes obviously had like no tug on the move at all. She literally just like put her hands in front of her face. It was a horrible looking crossface. It took Tony a while to like finally, because like Mercedes is wrenching back, so, and Tony's already on her back, so it's like not even really giving her an opportunity to like get on her stomach to properly execute the move. So it looked absolutely atrocious. And Mercedes was just screaming the whole time, "You can never be me." And that was your latest installment of the Mercedes and Tony build. So
see,
um,
it's literally just them attacking each other every week. That's
yes,
literally all it's been.
universe mode. This is
It's literally universe mode.
yes, this is exactly how I used to have my rivalries play out on universe mode, because you can't obviously fucking do anything on 2K. The difference between my universe mode and real life is Tony Khan has the creative ability to do quite literally anything, and he comes up with a backstage attack. Nice.
Good lord.
Nice. So, um, yeah, that was literally it, man. That was literally it. Just a backstage promo, or just a backstage attack. Like I said, that led out to the entranceway, and yeah, that was about it. That was about it for that. So, yep, they're touting this the greatest women's match of all time, and it hasn't even happened yet. And then this is what they got for the build: a backstage attack. Okay.
Literally, man. It's so just nothing. Tony Khan has given them nothing to work with, man, and that's what the match feels like. Nothing.
Yep. So we have a backstage attack, sniffing, and stakes. That's been your build
What a
to
fucking
to
what a fucking build, man.
yeah. So after that was done, we see the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are in the back, and they tell Swerve and Will Ospreay, "We know your match was set for the second hour, but we're moving your match next." Um. Okay. So we
Using that EVP power, that they're still using that gimmick for like 2 years later.
yeah. Um. So we then go to the next match, which is obviously Swerve and Will Ospreay versus Lee Johnson and Blake Christian.
Who's gonna win that match?
No fucking idea, dude. No idea who's gonna be winning this one. So, you know, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, it'd be really cool if, like, Osprey came out and like his wrists weren't taped yet, or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, and then I thought to myself, you know what? The way AEW is with paying attention to details a lot of the time, these guys are probably just going to make the most, these guys are probably just going to make their normal entrances just full gear ready. I was actually wrong, which I was very happily surprised with, because Osprey came out and his kick pads weren't on all the way. His wrists were not taped. Swerve came out. He was still putting his shirt on, even though he was just going to take it right off. But I appreciate the details, right? I appreciate the little attention to detail there. But um, these guys come out and they defeated Blake Christian and Lee Johnson.
That's not shocking at all. But I am shocked that they really did that little attention to detail and made them come out like all unprepared and not in ring ready. That was a cool little detail, man. I do like how they actually consistently did that, because like you said, I really wouldn't be shocked if they just went with their full gear normal entrance. But they didn't, and that's a nice little detail.
For sure. So after the match, Swerve challenges the Young Bucks to a tag team match at All In. Will Ospreay then gets on the mic and tells the Bucks, "Let's raise the stakes. How about we do, obviously, Swerve and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks at All In, with your EVP spots on the line if you lose."
So does that mean they're stripped of their EVP spots, or as Will Ospreay trying to take one
I
off for
don't
himself?
no, I don't. I think I don't think this means that Osprey and Swerve are gonna be the new EVPs. I'm just
So they
assuming
lose, they
that
lose it.
they if they lose, they are no longer EVPs, so they will not have any power.
Thank God, bro. Let All In be the death of the EVP gimmick. It was really cool when it started, but holy fuck, it's still going on. So I actually like that stipulation, and
Yeah,
that makes that match even better.
yeah, I agree. I because you know I thought this was a great way to like add interest to this match because
Mhm.
there wasn't really much there wasn't really much going on in the interest department for this match, at least recently. Obviously they're involved with the whole Death Rider story and stuff, but I definitely thought this that made this match better in terms of like having it stand out. I think adding this stipulation, like I said, makes the match stand out as one of the more important ones rather than just being, just a one-off tag match because Tony wants to see a banger tag team match at All In. And obviously we know it's going to be a banger tag team match, but now there's actually some stipulations on the line that make it more important for the future of television. So, yeah, putting the EVP spots on the line. Um, like I said, if Tony really does want it to be a fresh start in AEW, obviously you can have John Moxley lose, you can have the Bucks lose this, but I also wouldn't be so convinced that everything is gonna come to an end at All In. It could just be another stepping stone for the Bucks story as EVPs. But I hope so. I certainly hope so. And hopefully they can go a different direction with their gimmick and just everything they're doing on television now. But I can hope for the best. But I don't know. I'm just staying on edge. I'm staying on edge for whatever is to come at All In. So yeah.
Most definitely. Even though to me with the Bucks, I think it's a little more likely, just even as a way for Tony Khan to be like, see, stuff did progress. People are changing. The Bucks are no longer, and this is probably, the result of this match is probably their way of disconnecting the Bucks from the Death Riders because they don't really have any power for the Death Riders to use. So it's probably Tony Khan's way of, if Mox does retain, part of the element of the story still does move forward with, the Bucks kind of getting severed from them.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. I could absolutely see that for sure. And maybe yeah, maybe obviously without the Bucks and the connection between them and John Moxley, um maybe things could get a little bit harder for John Moxley, I guess, going into Wrestle Dream. My only question being, if you have Darby Allin come back at All In and confront John Moxley or whatever the case may be, you realize you still have another 3 months until we get to Wrestle Dream. Like who who is John Moxley gonna face? Like, how are you gonna drag out for that long Darby Allin getting his title match against John Moxley? Exactly.
I feel like there's gonna be like some Tony Khan dragging up story where, Darby, since he was gone for so long and, let this happen. He's got to prove it that, he get the title match. And he's got to go through this loophole and that loophole. I feel like that's what it's going to end up being.
Yeah, yeah, or
Even
either that or they're gonna do the story where Moxley won't give Darby a shot until he proves himself to Moxley or something like
mhm.
that. I could see.
I can even see him getting like a shot on TV somewhere in the middle of that, and then getting screwed over at that shot, and then get the real shot at Wrestle Dream. I wouldn't be shocked at that either. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I could see that definitely. Um, but yeah, yeah, I could. And now that you say that, about the Bucks, I could definitely see the Bucks, obviously, losing their EVP spots, just so Tony has an out to, maybe this will be Tony's way of compensating for, um, for John Moxley keeping the world title, if that is his plan. Like, well, I had John Moxley, keep the world championship, but I took the Bucks out of power. That's something you guys asked for too. I could definitely see, yeah, that be his form of compensation with his audience. But so we go to commercial and we come back, and the Young Bucks say that Swerve is suspended for touching an official. Okada then comes up and introduces his new friends. Yes, he said that. like he's in kindergarten. Hey guys, here's my new friends. And it's the fucking Don Callis family. It's
Yeah.
RPG Vice, Takeshita, and I think Lance Archer was there too, and Okada.
A friend group.
The Bucks reminisce with RPG Vice about the old wars between them and Roppongi Vice back in New Japan.
I
Love
think I
those.
didn't watch that.
I love those wars. That's an iconic
Uh,
rivalry. Roppongi
you
fucking
think
Vice versus the Young Bucks.
you think about Young Bucks pre AEW, man? You
Yeah,
think we're Punky Vice, bro?
exactly. There are certain feuds you just think about. You know what I mean? You think about, when you think about iconic, faction feuds, right? You think about NWO versus, the WCW roster. You think about the Undisputed Era versus the NXT roster. You think about the Bloodline terrorizing the SmackDown roster, really the whole WWE roster a couple of years ago. And then the other one that comes to mind is fucking Roppongi Vice versus the Young Bucks. The fuck? They say it's nice to be working together now. And they all walk away. We then get a face off between Okada and Takeshita, where Takeshita tells Okada this is all temporary. Very interesting. Oh, also worth mentioning, Trent says to the Bucks, "Wait till you guys see what I'm about to do to Kota Ibushi. You guys are gonna like it."
I don't think they're gonna like it. I don't think the fans are gonna like it either. I know I didn't like it, because I don't even remember what he did. um, but yeah, man. So hopefully, that little Takeshita thing is like a tease for those guys leaving that godforsaken faction, man. But who knows at this point?
The group was never good, but now with the additions that they've added, they
Oh,
got it. They
dude,
got to get Fletcher and Takeshita the fuck out of there, man. They have to.
they have to. They literally have to, man, because that group literally is just a bunch of fucking nobodies and then them. It's horrible.
Speaking of horrible, the next match is Kota Ibushi versus Trent. Dude, what the fuck, man? What?
Why is Trent on weekly television in the build to All In, bro?
That's a wonderful
What?
question. That is a wonderful
what-
fucking question, dude. Um,
Why'd you
s-
bring Cody Ibushi back on random television? Why don't you do it at All In to maybe, I don't know, like help Kenny?
you would think, you would think. Um,
You would think.
Coda, Coda. So before Coda makes his entrance, we get this theme song for Trent. This was one of the most abysmal things I think I've ever heard in my life, bro. The intro to this song was rule, power, greed. And then it just went into some fucking generic fucking rock music. What the fuck?
Got that up in there.
Rule, power, greed.
Holy
Those are three
shit,
things
dude.
that the Don Callis family has none of, other
Literally,
than
they
maybe
have
greed.
no. Fuck, that's abysmal.
I'm listening to this song and I'm like, what in the world is this? And then obviously Trent comes out there with his fake tough guy look. He's got like the black hoodie on. He's trying to look like he has aura, but he has none whatsoever. And for everything that Trent said he was going to do to Kota Ibushi, he did none of. He did not succeed at any of it. He lost in this match. He had he was beaten with a V trigger, with Kota holding the arms, and he lost. And he lost. So much for
Boy.
watch what I'm gonna do to Kota. You guys are gonna like it. Well, you lost.
Yeah, I think they did like it because their fucking boy just beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. So after the match, we got an Okada face-off, and I think next week, yes, July 3rd, or July 2nd. I mean, we will be getting a Okada versus Ibushi match. So Kenny is still out, as we guessed. They ran that whole angle because they did not want to build anything. So we just figured, oh, okay, well, let's just take Kenny out.
I wouldn't be shocked if Okada beats Ibushi, starts beating him up, and then Kenny returns to help his friend. I
Yeah,
really wouldn't be shocked at that.
I could see that.
But yeah, man, it's gonna be on Dynamite 300.
For oh yay. um
Yeah, we'll
so
have as many episodes of Dynamite.
man. Um so we get a John Moxley vignette promo in the back, or backstage promo, I mean. He says Hangman makes him sick. The build to your match with Hangman makes me sick. He says Hangman will never step up and be the man the people need him to be. So he should just start looking for a new job. What? Well,
Yeah, brother, you gotta open glass door and
yeah.
Indeed and start looking, bruh.
He needs to start.
Look for.
He, he, he needs to start
I
looking
gotta go
for a
back
new
to
job,
teaching.
eh? Okay.
I think so, man. Thought I'll go back to teaching, I guess.
Yeah. What do you want him to fucking apply at Kmart? I mean, what do you mean he needs to look for a new job? He so okay. So somebody with all the talent of Adam Hangman Page and the just amazing performer he is, you just want him to what? Do you want him to apply at Kohl's? Do you prefer he goes to AMC theaters? I mean, what he needs to look for a new job. Okay. It's a wonderful progression to the story. Hangman this week needs to look for a new fucking job. Nice. Nice. Couple segments prior to the match I'm about to talk about. Ricochet tricked AR Fox into teaming with him for his match against Jet Speed. Ricochet walks out on AR Fox, who loses to Kevin Knight's UFO, which is like a... It's actually pretty cool. It's like a... It's a frog splash, but he like twists in air. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
He beat so he won with that, and Tony Schiavone reminds us that Jet Speed is red hot.
Are- I would have never guessed.
I um I mean, maybe they're red hot if you count red hot for being overcooked. Maybe. Um
Red hot garbage, but
yeah, I don't speedball. Fucking speedball, dude. This dude, could
oh
you
dear
imagine
God.
that they could have easily slotted this dude against Adam Cole for the TNT Championship at All In? Easily.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Easily.
You could
Very
have
fucking easily.
you could have either you could have and you know, I know a lot of people say, you know, they want that spot for Kyle Fletcher. Fine. Do Kyle Fletcher versus Adam Cole versus fucking Speedball at All In for the TNT Championship. That would have been perfect. Meanwhile,
Exactly. Something like that.
meanwhile we get, I mean, I don't know if they wanted to be too
Exactly.
WWE about it, but they could have even done a ladder match for the TNT
They really
Championship.
could have.
So, yeah, the Hurt Syndicate, or they Jet Speed challenges the Hurt Syndicate at All In, excuse me, for the tag team championships. And the Hurt Syndicate, they come out and attack Jet Speed, put them through a table on the ramp, and then walk up to the ring as Jet Speed are laying there and getting carried away, and just proceed to cut a fucking promo as if they didn't just beat up their challengers at All In. What was that? Honestly.
Disorganization is what that is.
What the...
I don't.
I'm like
Hmm.
I'm watching. These guys are in the ring. These guys are in the ring cutting a promo, and in the background, you could fucking see Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey just standing there, like getting scraped up off the mat. Basically, the like fucking refs are carrying them away. They're getting just brought out. They're getting carried away like some type of jobbers. And the Hurt Syndicate are just standing there cutting a promo as if nothing's going on. And I'm like, gee, way to fucking, because more than likely, at least how I saw it, more than likely these guys were going to be the match at All In. Dude, you made these guys look like fucking shit in this
Yeah.
in this little segment here, man. What a way, especially if they do end up getting the match, what a way to make your tag team title challengers look like absolute garbage.
Oh yeah. Fucking horrible fucking way to make your fucking tag team challengers look. It's so sad, dude. And love the fucking Hurt Syndicate, man, but Tony Khan just it's the early Death Rider days problem of dope ass people, no one to face. And you had people to face, you literally just ran through them in like 2 months and called it a day, man. You could easily set up like the Guns to be good, like heavy challengers at All In or something,
Yeah.
and you just wasted every possible challenger completely.
Uh yeah, yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand it, man. You just had your goofball commentator talking about these guys are red hot. Meanwhile, not not even 10 minutes later, these guys are literally getting scraped up off the mat like some type of jobbers. That looked horrible. That looked absolutely horrible. And like I said, it's gonna even look worse, especially if they do end up getting the title match at All In. Cause
Yeah.
what is that? What is that, man?
Gonna be just sent out there to lose.
So they start cutting their promo. MVP is out there begging for challengers for the tag titles. Well, you just treated the guys that you said were red hot like absolute shit, so I guess it's not going to be them, even though it probably still is.
Yeah.
MJF then announces he is in the qualifier next week for the All In Casino Battle Royal. Or Casino Gauntlet, I mean.
Yeah.
To get his title back. Mark Briscoe then comes out and basically just starts ragging on MJF, saying he doesn't know how he made it this far in life with his kosher pickle. And this was what this was the crux of
Oh,
this
you got
promo. A fucking
it was
kosher
kosher
pickle.
pick. Um, on paper, this could be, a cool feud. Two guys AEW, and the fans really like. But I wonder who's gonna win this
Yeah.
feud, man. If
Really
I could
wonder
take a
who's gonna
guess,
win this one.
it's a hard guess, man.
Yeah.
But who knows, man? Who knows? But apparently JF requested this. He wants to work with Mark Briscoe, which again, on paper, could be a really cool
What?
feud. Um,
Wait.
yeah,
What?
you didn't
What?
know?
What? What did you just say?
Yeah, MJF requested this. He wanted to work with Mark Briscoe and have a feud. Which again, on paper, really cool idea. If especially if MJF is in super dickhead mode, that could be something really, cool. But no, it's just gonna be the
Oh,
kosher deal.
okay. Let's see, Tony. This is what you tell people no. MJF working with Mark Briscoe in the fall. Fine. In the build the fucking
Yeah,
Forbidden Door. All right, whatever. You have an AEW alumni versus, or you got an AEW, one of the AEW guys versus like an ROH guy. Sure. Again, we have nothing else going on for Forbidden Door anyway. Okay, so all right, whatever. The build to All In, MJF's request for working with Mark fucking Briscoe on the build to All In is granted. Are you kidding me? He accepted
I
that.
didn't know you. I didn't know you didn't know that. That's great. Yeah.
No,
He wanted to work with.
all week I was just like, okay, Tony's just fucking stupid. I'm like, he requested to work with Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, he wanted to work with him, and I guess he is, man. And instead of dealing with her business stuff, he's got a little side feud with fucking Mark Briscoe all of a sudden.
We
Really
are
don't know where this Hurt Syndicate is going.
we are 3 fucking weeks away from All in Texas. You don't tell me the match for MJF at All In is going to be. Actually, it's not, because Mark Briscoe qualified for the. Okay, so is MJF just going to be in a gauntlet match?
The main story of that Golden match is probably going to be these two,
Oh
and
fuck.
their little feud.
Oh fucking please.
Yeah, you know it, dog. You know it, and
Oh,
yeah. So I didn't know you
holy
didn't know that. That's
shit.
great. It just made my night or my day.
3 fucking weeks. You requested to work with Mark Briscoe. All right. Well, speak, speaking of all, speaking of the All-In Gauntlet and Mark Briscoe, Briscoe defeated Roderick Strong, Takeshita, and Bandito to qualify for the All-In Gauntlet.
Nice.
Mark Briscoe actually fucking wins this match with a froggy bow to Roger Strong. Okay.
Genuinely, I wouldn't be shocked if he wins that gauntlet at this point because, obviously you would think, oh, MJF is going to win, but it's not like he's going to go on to win the world title anytime soon. I think that's kind of clogged up. And, it's Mark Briscoe. It's not like it's new for him to lose in a title shot. So, genuinely, I could see, Mark Briscoe winning that gauntlet.
You know,
I love bestowing Tony Khan information on you. It's great.
uh, man, I don't know. Jesus. Well, I don't know what this means for Bandito, Takeshita, or Roger Strong. I don't know if there's going to be like a second chance for this, or I don't know if they're just not going to make it, but. I don't know. I don't know at this point. I do not know. So, yeah, like I said, I don't know if Takeshita's just going to be off the card or if he's just going to end up making this fucking match anyway. Who knows? But we then have the women's qualifier for the women's Casino Gauntlet. So there's going to be 2 Casino Gauntlet matches. We have Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, Athena. Yeah, Athena was on Dynamite. And Thunder Rosa. The Death Riders would come out there and distract Willow Nightingale. Even though I thought, like, whatever they were doing with them was done. I thought.
Thought so too.
So they distracted Willow, which would help Chris Statlander pick up the victory. They would then, I guess sort of give the nod to Chris Statlander as, this was their way of helping her. Yeah, so I guess just furthering the story of Chris Statlander joining the Death Riders. Who the hell wants to see that? I have no idea.
Oh, what a fucking story, man.
Yeah. Okay. Again, Stat pinned Willow. I don't know what this is going to do to their friendship, being that they're trying to reconcile with each other. They've been trying to reconcile with each other for a minute. So yeah, I guess it'll be interesting. Not really, but I guess it'll be interesting to see how whether Stat chooses to, repair her friendship with Willow or join the fucking Death Riders.
Great story, man.
And the main event was Adam Page versus Beast Morton.
Man, already getting the politics, man. God damn.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. This is just awfully weird. And again,
I know.
look, it's not, it's not that Morton is it's not that he's necessarily a bad wrestler or anything, just very unintriguing. I mean, he's more funny than anything because he just fucking walks around and growls. However, Morton, it's just very weird that ever since the news about him and Mercedes has come out, he's been in main events.
And
The past
like
2
Tony
weeks?
Khan told him. I
Yeah.
think he might have been. Tony Khan pull moves to get him to work in Triple A or CML again. He's in the main event to Dynamite. It's very interesting, man.
So Adam Page defeats the Beast Morton, and the Young Bucks afterwards, they came out to attack Adam Page. They gave him a EVP trigger. The Death Riders join in on the assault. And then the Ops and Will Ospreay, they come out to save Adam Page. That was your end to Dynamite. Holy hell.
Good lord.
That was boring.
Like, was it?
Yeah. Um t- yeah, like I said, man, like I said, dude, that was again, formulaic. I feel like most of these weeks somebody's getting attacked at the end of the show, or there's a brawl between Moxley and Page, or you know, like the Death Riders are attacking somebody, and then you know the baby faces come out to save and chase the Death Riders off. Fucking rinse and repeat, dude. Rinse and repeat.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Literally the same thing every single week, dude.
yeah. So that was that. So yes, Adam Page and Beast Mordos with a Death Riders and Young Bucks attack to end the show is the ending that we got this week. How boring! 3 weeks before All In.
What a build.
So that is that. That is that. That is AEW Dynamite for the week of for last week, for the June 25th edition of AEW Dynamite. And yeah, that was that again. Very boring. Very boring. 3 weeks before All In. This is what we got. So
I love it.
So with that, before we move on to WWE, man, we obviously can't move on without the official word from our sponsor here at NHP, W Energy. W is an energy drink loaded with vitamins and nootropics, formulated to improve focus without getting the jitters. W is a clean formula, sugar-free, zero-calorie, free from fillers and artificial colorings, with 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving. You can get your W products today with the link below and code NHP at checkout to save yourselves 10% on your next W purchase.
Really, always got to shout out W, whether workout, whatever you may need the energy for. You know, Dynamite is a usual go-to if you need the energy, man. And you know, sometimes your occasional SmackDown or Raw, man. But other than that, try W, and it'll give you the energy. It'll taste good all at the same time.
Yes, sir. So as always, shout out to the official sponsor of what we do here in Notorious Heels. As always, shout out to W Energy. SmackDown. Not really much to go over on SmackDown, to be honest. Just a couple things. First, being Julia wins the U.S. title from Zelina Vega.
Oh, it's funny that she doesn't care about the title. She doesn't care, and she won it, man. So legendary fucking promo package.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought that was very interesting. I had a feeling, they would end up putting the title on her, but yeah, isn't it lovely, man? We have a U.S. champion that says the championship means more to Zelina than it does to her, because this title is a stepping stone for her. What
ever
a
say that, man.
why would you ever have somebody say that about a world or about any championship?
She dead ass. They dead ass had her call that shit a stepping stone, and that she don't care about it. Good lord. She won it. She fucking packed up Zelina Vega. So, good lord. Good for her, I guess.
Yeah. So Julia is the new women's U.S. champion. Hope she does good things with the championship, bro. So Aleister Black starts a feud with, or officially, I guess, starts his feud with R-Truth as
That.
R-Truth came out there for another promo, and Aleister Black appeared behind him to give him a black mask. So that was that.
Mhm.
Interested to see what R-Truth can do to help Black, in his second stint here in WWE. So hopefully it can help him just establish himself as I don't even know what he is. I don't know if he's a baby face or a heel. I at least I thought he was a baby face. I don't know if they're gonna go in more of a heel direction. Um, I do think though, because of the friendship with Truth and Priest, I do think that it is going to end up moving over to a feud between Black and Priest.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I feel like this is gonna be more of a transition feud into, like you said, Black versus Priest. Which I could see that, we kind of, you mentioned we don't really know what Black is, babyface, heel. I think that this will move him more of a heel to face Damian Priest, which
I think
is,
so.
again, wild, but, WWE.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as long as he packs up Damian Priest, I'm cool with it. But we got the Wyatts. The Wyatt Six versus the Street Profits. Well, their match ended in a disqualification. It ended in a disqualification because all the tag team. I don't know if this was a lumberjack match or something, but like all the SmackDown tag teams were out there. And then one of them, I think it was Los Garza or yeah, is that the Legato, whatever, Lotharios, whatever they're called.
Those scars, I think.
Yeah, they just hopped in the ring and then just started attacking the Wyatt Six. I am lost. I am very lost. So that was yeah that that was how that match ended. Yeah, there was like some brawling going on the outside, and then yeah, Los Lotharios or Los Garza just ended up hopping in the ring and just attacking the Wyatt Six. So uh, okay, I guess. Okay, I guess. I mean that I just man, Triple H, dude. I don't get it. For somebody who used to be so great, at booking tag teams and having healthy tag divisions that again were very good, very healthy divisions, very compelling. There was always a line of challengers. There was always, a decent tag team feud going on in NXT um to this.
Insane, dude. Insane dip of quality with, Triple H tag team booking.
Yeah. I mean, you have 3 hours. You have fucking 3 hours to kill. And we get this.
Oh, dude, the fact that they're moving back to two, we're never going to see this tag team division anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Probably, bro. And then at the end of the show, we got Punk Life. CM Punk spits some bars, if you want to call them that, against
I
John
wouldn't, but
Cena. They played into, Cena ripped off the pipe bomb, so CM Punk wanted to rip off something of his. Um, you know, the rapping was obviously atrocious, but the point behind it was I get where they were going again. It wasn't, to me it wasn't, nothing crazy, but it was simple to the point, and it was I mean, it was pretty the point of it was pretty good. I will say again, the wrapping of it, obviously, I mean, again, the wrapping of it was obviously subpar, but at the end of the day, I didn't expect CM Punk to go out there and just start fucking going ham. So I mean, it was good for what it was. It did its job, and I get the point they were going for.
Yeah, I get that. I think it got the point it was trying to hit. I think they could have just kept it simple and they did the little mock entrance and then did more of a normal promo, but they shot what they were trying to shoot for, man. I think they got it on that regard.
Yeah, I will say the Kendrick and Drake line was a little corny. If you would have hit that,
So bad.
if you would have hit that line last summer when the feud was like, huge at the
There.
time, I think it would have came across a little bit better. But hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
So, so yeah, that was that, and yeah, that was honestly everything for SmackDown, bro. It was obviously a Saudi show. There was also a women's title match between Tiffany and Nia, which seen Tiffany win. LOL. This is like their 47th time facing within her title reign. So, yeah.
Most definitely.
So that brings us to Monday Night Raw. This was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this episode of Monday Night Raw seen yet again no Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
For I want to say this is probably the fourth week in a row now. There's been no Pat.
Yeah,
One
I think it's been a month now.
wonder wonder if he's got like I wonder if it's like football stuff or if he just wanted the time off. Maybe maybe
I
he's
think
found out that Twitter hates him. I don't know.
he did because I think he took this time off as a break. I think I saw him talking about that on something. He took this time off as like a break, from everything to like not burn himself out. And I think that's what it was. And I think that's what it
Oh.
is. Yeah, it's like a little break,
Oh.
I guess, not to burn himself out, but do you know what I'm saying? Whenever he does come back, man, keep Corey on that commentary team too. Please do a
Yes.
3-man booth.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And if I would have caught myself saying that a couple years ago, I probably would have been very disappointed with myself, but honestly, man, in just the current state of commentary, Pat Pat and Cole is obviously a great duo, but I think Corey just adds to that so much. I like I like the I like the feel of Corey being there with Pat and just kind of how grounded he keeps them. You know what I mean? Because he's usually like obviously Pat's always having a good time and laughing and doing all types of stuff, and Corey likes to play the role of more of the crabby one, which just adds a nice dynamic to McAfee's energy. So
Does.
yeah, so the open to the show was Rhea Ripley. As soon as I seen Rhea, I instantly knew where this was going. But I
Oh, yeah.
digress. Rhea Rhea does her shtick. She welcomes the fans to Monday Night Mommy. She says she needs to get her priorities straight going into Evolution. We then hear the music of the Women's World Champion, Io Sky. Io comes in the ring. She says, "You cannot have Evolution without Io Sky." She says, "Rhea is not on top because I am the champ. I have this." She says, Adam Pearce told her she could defend the title against whoever she wants at Evolution, and she wants the best. So that means you, Rhea Ripley. Rhea says she has nothing but respect for Io, and if that's what Io wants, she's going to stop at nothing to get the title back. And if that's what she wants, whatever happens at Evolution, she wants her to know that's what she wanted. That was that. And it is confirmed Rhea Ripley is getting the women's world title match at Evolution. You know, I sort of had a feeling that this was going to happen ever since coming out of WrestleMania. They teased this match heavy, and I thought they were going to do it at Backlash, and then they kind of just dropped it. So I figured that they were dropping this because they wanted, you know, a match of this magnitude for Evolution. And then, you know, I thought that maybe it would be Asuka for a little bit, but then they ended up, you know, putting her in Queen of the Ring. So I was like, oh, okay, are they, you know, maybe they're not going to do it at Evolution, which obviously they obviously didn't end up going with that. They ended up going with the match with Rhea Ripley. I'll say I'm glad they didn't put Rhea Ripley in any sort of, you know, tag team situation with Nikki Bella or anything like that. I'm glad they ended up going with I'm glad they did not end up going with something like that. As for the match with Io, it is something we've seen before, but I will say, man, in typical current WWE ways, this definitely is. I could see why Triple H went with it because it is a safe option. It is a safe option. You obviously are you know, who do we give the women's world championship match to? We'll go ahead and give it to Rhea Ripley. She's obviously our biggest star, so it is a very it is a very safe option for WWE. Not that it's bad, just personally for Evolution, I probably would have went with something like Asuka. I just think Asuka and Io, obviously the whole story with Damage Control, but they obviously did wait a minute. If you were going to tell that story and the story with Damage Control and all that stuff, you would obviously probably need a little bit more time. So I guess Rhea is not only the safe option, but the quick option as well, being that there is just 2 weeks to go before the show.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. I think it was kind of obvious to at least me and you that I could have seen, you know, Rhea being the next challenger up. Kind of, I don't like the way they did this segment. I don't like how they had Io choose Rhea, especially last week. You had that little backstage thing with Io and Asuka where, you know, they literally said they want to face each other. And then the next week you give us the information that Io has the power to choose who she wants to face, and she doesn't face the person last week she said she wants to face. Kind of a bit of a logic gap in that.
For sure.
But and kind of at least to me, kind of from Triple H, another like cowardly way to do it is, you know, it's not Rhea Ripley going for her, it's Io challenging her. I think it's kind of like at that point I would have just, you know, grew up here and had Rhea challenge her. But you know, it's Triple H. So he's gonna, you know, take the safe, you know, safest way possible. And this is the definition of what this match is, the safest thing possible. So it is what it is. I'm not too mad at it, like a lot of people are, I guess. But it's just, you know, safe and a little lackluster. But I'm not mad at it.
Does Rhea win the title back?
That's the thing, dude. The fact that like Rhea has never beat EO is a scary fact to me, man. Because I wouldn't be shocked, man. But I feel like EO still is, gonna face Asuka at some point for that title. So
And
it really could be 50-50, dude.
yeah, and remember too, a couple weeks ago we remember hearing the story about WWE wants EO and Vacker to happen
Yeah.
sooner than we expect or whatever. So obviously Rhea is always an option if WWE wants to dip back into that well, but for now I'll say EO and I really hope it ends up being EO. I think that's just the right outcome there.
Most definitely. I really hope so.
So um yeah, but yeah, for sure. Like you said, the whole logic gap between, EO, the whole logic gap between, I also again I don't really like I don't really like the whole you can choose whoever you want to face thing either. I think that should be earned,
Kinda
but
cheap.
even with that, I mean, I guess Rhea just won on pay-per-view, so I guess she would have been in consideration to be one who have earned it anyway. So just a yeah, just a like you said, definitely just them taking a way out or a cheap way of them explaining why this match is happening. Judgment Day. They're in the back, and AJ confronts Dominic, who was just hyping up Finn and JD. He shows AJ a doctor's note. He asks him if he needs to put his glasses on to read it. He tells him, according to this doctor's note and according to Adam Pearce, if you touch me, you will not be getting your championship match. AJ puts his glasses on, literally pulls out a pair of glasses and reads the doctor's note. And he says, "Yep, right here. The doctor says you're a punk ass." Him and Dominic banter a little bit back and forth for a little bit, and then AJ ends up walking away. So yeah, that was that. So yeah, it looks like Dominic still is out of action, and now they've added that AJ cannot touch the man, or else he will not be getting his title match.
Yeah, very. I wonder, do you think the match will happen at Saturday night's main event or SummerSlam? Because I feel like at this point
Mm,
it might be SummerSlam bound.
I could see that. I could
I
very
think,
well. Yeah, I think it could be Saturday night's main event if they don't really have anything for that show, but we all know WWE. If they don't have something for that
they're
show,
gonna
they will
load it.
find something to put on that show. Um, Especially with an injury to Dominic, they probably do drag it out to SummerSlam unless they don't deem it a SummerSlam worthy match and they put it on like the Raw before or the Raw after. They like putting big title matches on those shows for some reason. Um, so yeah, I
They
mean,
do, but the
mhm,
fact that it's 2 nights, I could see them.
yeah,
I could see them squeezing it in, and they like AJ. AJ's a fan favorite. Dom's a fan favorite.
yeah.
I think this one does make it on, or to me at least, it better make it on the show.
I hope so. I hope so.
I really hope so.
Speaking of Judgment Day versus the New Day.
Good old New Day, man. Well, what a waste.
Fuck. What,
Ooh,
what, what a waste is right. The match itself was actually pretty good. You would never know because they said it on commentary. In the 3 months the New Day held the tag team championships, or 2.5 months that they held the championship, they wrestled twice.
Lord.
So we get a coup de a coup de grace to J.D. McDonough by accident, because he was holding Xavier Woods in like sleeper hold position and told Finn Balor to hit the move on him. Finn came off the top with the coup de grace. Xavier Woods moved, and he ended up, like I said, hitting it on JD. Finn then ended up getting a Midnight Hour, the Big E version of the move. The Big E version of the move. Well, actually, I think that's the only version, because I think their other move is called something. Yeah, it's called like Daybreak or something. So they hit the Midnight Hour on Finn for a near fall. Xavier Woods, when Finn went to hit the ropes, the ref was checking on JD. He actually hit Finn Balor with the championship. Kofi would then roll Finn immediately into a roll up for another near fall, and JD McDonough would then hit his moonsault, and Finn would hit the coup de grace on Xavier Woods back to back for a Judgment Day victory. And the Judgment Day, for like the third summer in a row, capture the tag team championships and defeat the New Day, clocking their reign in at about 2.5 months. I mean, what?
Judgment Day has like half the gold on Raw, and they're like the most least interesting and important part of the show. Why are they tag team champions?
Again, bro. This is like, this is the 2023, 2024, 2025. This is the third summer in a row. This is the third year in a row where these guys win the tag team championships in the summer. Again.
Playing it safe, man.
What the fuck? I mean, way to...
Dude.
How have they held the tag team championships 3 times, or actually 4 times over, I think. 4, it might be even 5. 4 or 5 times over. Yet the Creed brothers have yet to capture the tag titles once.
It literally, it's what do you even say at this point besides just like, and dude, the fact that Judgment Day is like so victorious right now, this group isn't ending anytime fucking soon.
No, and you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the whole thing where they have all the gold, then they lose all the gold, and everybody's mad at each other. And then next summer, we're probably gonna fucking have them win all the gold again, because there's gonna be a new member that, changes the way the group gets gold. And I mean, what the fuck? We just talked about this with AEW, man. Rinse and fucking repeat. I mean, again, not trying to sit here and say, the New Day was the better option. At this point, they're both bad options. The only good option here is to shake up the tag division and maybe get the championships on a different team. But even at that, it's probably still not going to fucking do anything. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck you do here other than just shake up the divisions. And again, even saying that, I don't even know that will work. I don't know. The only thing that needs to happen here is Triple H's mindset on the way he books his tag team divisions, because whatever he's doing now clearly is not fucking working. Again, dude, this is the third summer in a row where the Judgment Day, in the months of June or July, get their, hands on some tag team gold again, and we run the same story over, rinse and repeat. Like I said, I could tell you how this is going to go. The group's on top. They're doing great. Everyone loves it. La-di-da. We got all the gold in the Judgment Day. And then once the belts start dropping off, then we go right back to them giving each other dirty fucking looks every week, and then somebody gets turned on that's not named Finn Balor, and Finn stays in the fucking group, and then we do it all over again next summer. What the
Yep.
fuck?
Every year, it's the same exact thing with this group. And literally for like damn near 2 years in a row, I wanted this group to just end, man, and it's not gonna end anytime soon. Your tag division's going nowhere. You could do a shake up, but Triple H isn't gonna change the way he books the tag team division, so it's just gonna be teams winning, teams feuding, teams winning, and you won't care, man. That the WWE tag team division is so dead.
Man, it is I was just thinking about this. Going back to SmackDown. These guys got called up, a couple months ago. How just dead already does Fraxium feel? I mean, these guys are better off staying in fucking NXT.
They might as well at that point, dude. Literally, because now they're just another team on SmackDown.
Yep. There's just another team on that roster that, again, just they all feud with each other just so everybody can get their hands on the tag titles, and then that's it. I mean, again, the fall off is insane, man. I do not understand how Triple H would book better divisions with less talent in the division, because a lot of times in NXT you had two tag teams that were, on top at a time. You know what I mean? Obviously there were a lot of great tag teams that went through the division, but like if you look at, like, for example, if you look at the era of no pun intended, but the era of the Undisputed Era, there was the UE, and then, for a little bit there was, maybe Sanity there, but all the other tag teams were smaller tag teams like Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, or you had the Street Profits, who obviously weren't big yet, you know what I mean? They were, kind of just a smaller tag team in NXT at the time. And then there was the era, or actually, take out Sanity, the two biggest tag teams at the time were probably, um Mustache Mountain and Undisputed Era. And then you look at like DIY and the Revival. You know what I mean? Those were the main two tag teams in the division. All the other tag teams were good, but they were smaller. They weren't like your main, upper echelon tag teams like DIY and Revival. In this case, you have a more stacked division, especially on SmackDown. You have a more stacked division and you do less with it. Again, you have Fraxium, the Wyatt Six, fucking Los Garza, DIY, the Street Profits, the Motor City Machine Guns. You do nothing with them.
Literally nothing, dude. It's insane.
Man, I will never understand the fall off, bro. I will never understand how one man was so fucking good at doing this stuff, and nowadays it is just he is awful. He is awful at booking these tag divisions. I mean, it is the literal embodiment of rinse and fucking repeat.
Oh, literally, that's literally all it is. Divisions, and it's the same thing for each one every day, every week, every pay-per-view. They're not even on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It never fails.
Do not understand. I do not understand. I do not understand where he went so fucking wrong with the tag team divisions, bro.
No.
Again, he used to be so good at it. And he used to only have like two tag teams on top at a time in NXT. Here, you have all these tag teams that are so good and that could be featured as top acts, and it's worse. It is worse.
It makes no sense, dude.
You put this SmackDown tag team division in NXT nowadays, or sorry, you put this SmackDown tag division now in NXT 2013, that is god tier. Yet for some reason in 2025, we can't find our way out of a fucking wet paper bag with this tag division. I don't understand.
Nope. Nothing, dude. Literally nothing.
So yeah, the Judgment Day again are the tag team champions. Can this group please just be over?
Please, dude. I am begging this group to just end, and it's not gonna end for probably another year.
Fuck. Bailey is backstage. She says Lyra's interference in her match last week is the reason she did not win the IC title. She says that does not change the fact she wants revenge on Lynch. Lyra comes up. She says that Bailey hasn't returned her calls, her texts, and she came to her to apologize, and that she doesn't know who Bailey is anymore. She says she was not out there to sabotage her. It's personal with her and Becky. Bailey then argues back, saying it's personal with me and Becky too. He says there will be a match. There will be a match tonight to see who will face Becky next. Lyra looks at Bailey and she says, "See you in the ring, friend." Wow, really got her there.
Like, got her in the gut with that one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's moving decent. They're obviously, then later tonight we'll talk about it. They're obviously setting up that triple threat, man.
Yeah.
And I really like the Bailey's attitude with everything. She's not like overly fake friendly with Lyra for no reason. She's not overly she's very focused on, herself character wise. And I like the way that she like plays it off, man.
100%. 100%. Yeah, this has been one of the better things about WWE TV all summer. Yeah, like you said, I like how, Bailey, she got her Mania spot taken from her. You know what I mean? And I'm just so glad she did not come back and is all giddy with Lyra and is like, made the best woman win. I mean, that would just, again, that would make no sense. That would absolutely make no sense. So, again, it makes more sense for Bailey to be upset about this, and it makes more sense for her, like I said, to be upset. She, doesn't really care to be friends with anybody, let alone Lyra. So, yeah, I like it a lot. I like the way it's been going, man, and yeah, I think it's been great. I think it's been great, man. So, we then get a video package for Goldberg. That lasted about 3 minutes. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But Chad Gable is backstage telling American Made to hold down the fort and to not let the American Made spirit die. Adam Pearce comes up. He tells Gable he's sorry about the injury and he wishes him good luck. Chad Gable says, "I'm an Olympian. I make my own luck. But thank you." Pearce says, "Well, I guess we won't be seeing El Grande Americano for a while, right?" Chad Gable says, "You never know. He is a busy man, and we will have to see if he can fit it into his busy schedule." Being the most famous luchador there is. I thought Mystico was the most famous luchador.
Well, that's over there in CMLL, or yeah, CMLL. Not in the other, not in anywhere else apparently.
I don't know about that, man. I think Mystico is the most famous luchador ever. So, well, I mean,
Of his generation.
yeah, exactly. Um, Gable tells Ivy to conquer Stephanie Vacker, and he tells the Creed brothers it is time to fulfill your championship potential. And Ludriz is in the background lurking. That's another thing we will get back to. Because
Oh boy.
things would get a whole lot more interesting a little later in the night with Mr. Ludriz. So we go back to Judgment Day. These guys are in the back. Finn and JD. They're in the back talking to Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. So Finn, he is trying to convince the GMs to let Roxanne step in as Raquel's partner. The GMs agree on one condition. They say that they have to defend the championships at Evolution in a four-way against a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and a team from NXT. This segment was kind of weird because like, I don't know if you noticed it, but like, they say they have to defend the titles in a four-way. And so, you know, Finn's like, okay, they're fair. Finn's like, all right, that's fair. They say a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and you know, Finn's like, he's like shaking his head like, okay. And then they say, and then a team from NXT. And then Finn like gets this look on his face like, what? Like, dude, what? What? Like, what? Why are you so scared of a team? So you were okay with them facing a team from Raw or SmackDown, but NXT, they drew the line there for you. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, what? Who is to be so feared in NXT that you're like, no? As for who they could use from NXT, fuck, I don't even know any tag teams down there. Honestly, the only tag team or the only like really pairing that I know down there, I don't even know if they would do that because one of them is the women's North American champion, but it would be Zarya and Sol Ruka. Maybe, unless they
Could
wanted to
be.
have Sol Ruka defend the North American title on that show. So
I have genuinely no clue. Maybe I don't know. I think I saw people talking about there was like two teams it could be from down there, and I was like, okay, they could just be in that match. But yeah, Finn was funny as hell on that. Like he like agrees, fatal four way, they got to defend it. That makes sense. And then with every team name, he gets more and more concerned. Like, bro, you just said, agreed to the fatal four
yeah,
way.
like
How you gonna be shocked that he mentioned four teams? Like
like
what?
what? Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like what? Yeah, it's like when they said NXT, he like freaked out. He had like this like look on his face. His
Oh,
eyes got all big, and I'm like, what? What exactly
like
did you think was gonna like? What did you think he was gonna say? Like, what did you like? Did you fucking think he was gonna say a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and a team from MLW? And then he was gonna be like, oh, all right, like what? I okay.
okay, but yeah, little obviously putting Roxanne in that group, and we'll get to it. Obviously Finn's just setting up to, be right about all this, and he's gonna be right about his version of the Judgment Day until, like you said, the tensions rise when they all lose the titles. It's gonna be just about another year probably of this with the Judgment Day.
Probably. And the fact that Liv got hurt probably prolonged it even longer.
Oh, 100. I genuinely think it was going to come to an end very relatively sooner,
Yeah.
but I think that live injury just extended it probably to like Mania.
Because I mean it's the same thing, dude. Well, I wouldn't be so sure of that because we thought Mania
Maybe
this year.
SummerSlam next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna say, we got to get past probably fall next year because they're gonna win the titles summer of next year. They're gonna win the tag titles back for the fucking fourth year in a row, and then tensions are gonna rise through SummerSlam, and then it'll probably come to an end after SummerSlam next year. SummerSlam in Minnesota. However, um, so we got um what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it's the same thing. You know, Rhea got hurt last year. Liv helped the group regain all the gold and be a change in the group. And then when Rhea comes back, you know everything's all fine. But Liv's obviously gonna keep an eye on Roxanne, and then things are gonna take a turn, and then it's gonna be revealed
Exactly.
Liv and Dominic are kicked out or whatever. But yeah, which if Liv and Dom are out of that group, holy fuck. Please.
Oh, I grew
Just
nothing.
just end it. Just fucking end it.
Please end it. Please.
So that was that. That was that. And after that, we got after that, Nick Aldis looks at Adam Pearce and he says, "We're on the same page for once." Adam Pearce looks at him and he says, "For now."
Teasing the fucking draft. That's not gonna happen for another like fucking 2-3 months.
Yeah, I'm not wasn't yeah, I mean I guess the draft would make sense. I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about at first. Other than the fact that mainly these guys mostly
Draft.
argue with each other, but I guess the draft would make the most sense, which like you said is funny enough because the draft is probably not for another 2 months. So, wonderful. Rusev and Sheamus. Man, it was nice to watch. It was nice to watch Miro work again. He's obviously been in matches, but they've relatively been squash matches up until this point. It was nice to watch the man just go to work, bro. It was nice to watch him go to work, and obviously there's nobody to put him in there better than Sheamus. I know Sheamus is gatekeeper wrestler, but he does a very good job at making himself. He does a very good job at keeping things competitive, and obviously just not putting somebody over in just convincing fashion and just getting stepped on. You know, he did lose here, but it actually wasn't even in clean fashion. So, Sheamus is always just great to really get somebody over on a work rate standpoint. But yeah, so Rusev had the accolade in. Sheamus powered out. The crowd was pretty hot tonight, especially for a lot of these matches. I forgot to mention they were pretty hot for the New Day, match and Judgment Day. And they were pretty hot for this one as well. So he powered out of the accolade. These two then rolled to the outside. Sheamus would hit a brogue kick for a close near count out. Rusev would then expose the turnbuckle, like the strut, and he would send Sheamus throat first into the strut, and then hit a Machka kick for a he would hit a Machka kick for the victory. Every time I think of the Machka kick, I think of 2K. What was that? 2K18. Do you remember when we used to play online with Logan and he used to fucking spam the Machka kick and it was unfucking counterable? Holy
It was literally
fuck,
those
dude!
uncountable ass moves, dude, and it was brutal. I do remember that now. God, thanks for that flashback.
Logan used to fucking terrorize us with the fucking Machka kick. God,
It would be fucking
that was
brutal,
so
man.
annoying, dude. Trying to hit my fucking move and he would just hit that and I can't counter it. Oh my god.
And then,
So,
like, remember the old 2K rollout system? You could just constantly just spam the
dude,
rollout system.
yes, bro, I do remember that. All you had to do was like put that badge on your guy and he just had non-stop rollouts. As long as you had the stamina to do it, holy shit.
Just fucking get out of any pin by just rolling out the ring first
Mm-hmm.
and running back in full no sell, dude. Oh, it was
Yeah,
brutal.
it was
But
very brutal.
amazing match. It was, dude. It was amazing match from these two very hard hitting. Um, literally got to a point where they were just soaked in sweat from how fucking brutal the match was. I literally don't think I've ever seen Sheamus look like he dipped in his water before. Insane, dude. Brutal. Dude, it literally got to a point
It
where
did, yeah.
I noticed his hair and I was like, oh my God, he is fucking soaked.
Shit, that was
Brutal fucking.
you know when it's a good Sheamus match because all you have to do is like midway through the match, just you don't even have to watch it. Just go to the middle of the match and just pause it and just look at his hair. That's how you know if Sheamus is getting down to it or not, bro. But yeah, he literally looked like he just fucking got out of the shower and just had water running on his head for the past 20 minutes.
It really did, man. But brutal, hard hitting match. Loved it. I love when, you know, I'm never a fan of squash matches. So far, I haven't loved what they did with Rusev. But this is what I love. I love when you have a guy like Rusev and you have a guy like Sheamus, and they just beat the shit out of each other, man. That's the kind of shit I love from those type of guys. And that match was exactly that. And it was great. Obviously, easily the best match on the show in terms of that episode of Raw. And I think we might be in for another one, possibly. If I'm a betting man, probably at Saturday night's main event. I wouldn't be shocked.
I could see that. Oh yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that. Especially because that's like obviously the day of All In. Rusev's a former AEW guy, so maybe that would be their thinking of like sticking it to them. Maybe here we got your guy, and we're actually fucking using him, maybe that kind of thing. So, um, so yeah, it's a very good match. Yeah, like nobody looks bad here. Nobody looks bad. So again, when you do have Sheamus in that gatekeeper role, it's hard to look at him as like gatekeeper when he does have great matches like that. Um so yeah. Um and yeah, it looks great for Rusev. Like I said, it puts him over. It puts him over very well because he is at a point where obviously we're watching him go to war with Sheamus, and obviously he comes out with the victory, so that makes him look very good. We get another segment with the general managers. They announced a battle royal at Evolution with the winner. Excuse me. With the winner getting a title match at Clash in Paris. And apparently, for the non-American segment, Stephanie Vaquer has entered herself in this battle royal, saying if she wins, she wants the winner of Io versus Rhea.
Wonder that could lead to.
Yeah, see, they yeah, this for sure kind of spelled out for me, that they're this is more than likely going to be the spot where they do where they, finally give us that EO versus Stephanie Vaquer match, which Paris signed me up. I actually think Stephanie Vaquer is probably going to be winning that match nonetheless. But yeah, I like the implications behind the match. I think it's obviously a great way for the match to have meaning. So
Exactly. I like that, and I like how it sets up a later pay-per-view, obviously, at Clash. And I'm excited. I think Fat Girl will win that. And literally, I could see her facing Io or Rhea because her and Rhea did have that little interaction backstage like a month ago. So either or, I think is going to be setting up a good ass match at Clash in Paris. Most likely Io, I think right now.
yes, American Made. American Made are in the back, and Ivy says that she she is working to get herself in the battle royal. She says she's going to stop at nothing to get herself in that battle royal. And all of the sudden, El Grande Americano. Yes. El Grande Americano walks into the view of the camera. But this wasn't just any El Grande Americano. This El Grande Americano was walking with some zest. This one had his chest puffed out and was a lot taller than we know him to be. And he walks away, and all of American Made are just stunned watching El Grande Americano. As WWE have made Ludwig Kaiser El Grande Americano.
I guess that's what happens when you tweet at Charlotte, or when you make a little jab at Charlotte, bruh. You become El Grande Americano. Good
That
Lord.
is a serious change of fucking character for the I guess once rather serious
Mhm.
Ludwig Kaiser.
Logically, bro, like, how do you even explain this
uh,
in kayfabe? Like, what reason would kayfabe-wise Ludwig help Gable by becoming, El Grande? Why? That is horrible, dude.
I don't know. That's what, like, I get the notification on my phone and I'm like, huh? I'm
Yep.
like, new El Grande Americano, and I look at the picture and I'm like, is that fucking Kaiser? And then sure enough, you see him like do his walk away, and obviously anybody could tell the walk from a mile away. And I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm like, how the? I know he's been backstage lurking in the segments, but how in the fuck did we get to that conclusion? Ludwig Kaiser is El Grande Americano. I am very interested to see how that is going to work. Yeah, just odd. And like I said, a very drastic change of character from somebody who obviously was with Gunther, so he was very serious, and he just has that, just very serious demeanor, very serious character, no bullshit kind of guy. He's obviously been off TV for a long time, and we're seeing him lurk in the backgrounds of these segments, and now he is Zesty El Grande Americano. I am very interested to see how that is going to work, or even if it is going to work. I don't know, man. That's very strange. That is very fucking strange, man.
It's a very strange decision, man, and I'm very curious to see how they try to back it up.
Yeah, and mentioning what you said, how the hell do you explain that? Like, what type of link do Chad Gable and Ludwig Kaiser have together? I don't know. So after this interview, Jackie walks over to Sami Zayn to try to get a word with him. And before he can get a word out, he is attacked by Karrion Kross, who's screaming, "Say it! Say it!" Yeah, say it! He then attacks Sami Zayn with a lead pipe. attacking him before his main event match later in the night. Well, Night of Champions wasn't the last time we seen Cross, so I guess that's a positive.
Yeah, that's good, man. That dude, did you see one of fucking Carrying Cross's shirts?
Oh, oh my God! Good Soldier is it right? Hilarious. Well, they're giving him new
Fucking
merch, so hopefully they, choose to re-sign him, unless this is the final merch test for the guy. Um,
could be. Who knows?
so then we get Gunther. Gunther comes out for a promo. He says the fans guessed right. He came out here to talk about Bill Goldberg. He says the promo package from earlier in the night are like his matches, summed up in 3 minutes. He says he is nothing but a 58-year-old man that is wanting to ride his coattails. He says he will not be able to beat him at Goldberg will not be able to beat him at Saturday night's main event. He says I could beat him in 3 minutes, but I will not have to, because all I want to do is embarrass Goldberg. He says Goldberg does not like bullies, but he ran into the biggest bully there is. He says he is going to bully him and treat him like a piece of crap. He says he's going to expose. He says if Goldberg thinks he still has it, he is going to expose that he never had it in the first place. He then says, after Goldberg, it is my responsibility to arrange the question, who's next? Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman come to the ring sporting a new Money in the Bank briefcase.
Get that.
It was actually it was a pretty briefcase,
Okay.
man. It was a pretty briefcase. It is all black, and it says Money in the Bank in gold, and in the O is Seth Rollins' SR logo. I thought it looked very nice.
I like it. Exactly, man. I like it. I think they did good. Dude, the black briefcase just looks so good, dude.
It
Please
does.
make that the basic color briefcase for the love of God. But it looks amazing, dude. And I'm very curious to see, the one Naomi ends up getting. I feel like she might get a caution tape
Yeah,
themed one.
I could see
So
that.
either way, glad that they brought back, obviously they didn't like last year, but I'm glad that they have, officially brought back, custom briefcases. I'm glad that it's a constant thing.
See, that's what I don't understand, man, because a lot of times in the Vince era, we would hear like, oh, Vince didn't want to put the
Oh,
briefcase
what?
on such and such because he didn't think he would look good with a green briefcase.
Just
Okay.
make it look good.
So just give him a custom briefcase. I will say though, for as pretty as Seth Rollins' briefcase was, could you imagine Kevin Owens' briefcase? A black briefcase with Money in the Bank, like written out in duct tape.
That'd have been so sick,
That
dude.
would have. It says Money
Oh,
in the Bank, but like
in the
written out.
duct tape.
Oh, dude, that would have been
Mhm.
so nice, bro. That would have been so
That would have been
nice.
so sick.
So unfortunately, we did not. We're not able to get the duct tape briefcase, but Rollins' briefcase is very, very nice, man. I like the look of it a lot, and he says, um, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, like I said, we would hear that quite a bit, man, and like I just never understood why the custom briefcases went away in the first place, man. It again, it adds to the look and it makes everything look better because again, Seth Rollins, his group and his colors are black and gold nowadays, right? Most, half the time his guys are coming out wearing black suits. He's normally wearing black, and obviously he's got the hint of gold in his logo. So black and gold briefcase just fits. It just fits, man. And you would think Vince would have wanted to jump on the opportunity of like making the money off of, the extra, because you can obviously sell the green briefcase, but then once they get another briefcase, you can obviously
Sell that
sell
one
that
too.
one. So it's one thing that works for TKO and it works for the fans because that it looks nice. It looks nicer on the performers. It's cooler aesthetically. So he comes out sporting the new briefcase. Gunther, before they can even say anything, says he looks at Paul and he says he has an awfully big smile on his face, and he looks very proud to have traveled very far and accomplished absolutely nothing. Seth says he's out here to congratulate Gunther. He says he was not out there. He says he was not out there at Night of Champions to cash in. Huh? So
I
why did you stand in the middle of the ring and fucking point for a referee to come out?
I get what he goes on to say. It's like he wasn't there to like cash in on Cena as like against Cena. He did it, because his promise for Punk to never be world champ. That's
Mm-hmm.
why he cashed in. It wasn't, to do it against Cena, but like the wording on that was just so dumb.
It was. It for sure was. Because I'm sitting there like, you weren't out there to cash in, yet you pointed for.
But you
What else
cashed
did
in.
you fucking point for a referee to come out there for? Okay. So he says his promise was to make sure that CM Punk will never be world champion. He flew all the way across the world to stand on that business. He says it's an all-out assault on both world titles. CM Punk's music,
Really though.
yeah. CM,
It really.
I think not. So CM Punk's music hits, and him and Seth brawl. Rollins runs away. He runs off into the audience, and CM Punk is on the top rope, yelling at him. He's a coward. Punk goes to walk away, and Gunther grabs Punk's arm. Punk turns around and shoves Gunther to the ground. He fell right on his ass, and he's looking up at CM Punk with a look of disbelief on his face. As Seth is in the crowd waving goodbye to CM Punk, he's laughing. He's laughing, and standing behind him, eating some popcorn, is LA Knight. And LA Knight attacks Seth Rollins into the bar area. Dude, did you see when he was attacking Rollins? He slams his head up against the bar, and then he turns around and just trips. he, he turns around and just fucking falls. He fell right on his knee. But him and Rollins just end up brawling into the backstage area as that match would get announced for Saturday night's main event. So the segment was good. The stuff with Gunther and Rollins was good. But what I really loved about this segment was the end of it. Or at least the end of the CM Punk part of it, because I really hope that this ends up being a foreshadowing of what WWE ends up doing with Gunther.
I hope so.
And what they end up doing with Gunther in this second title reign that is putting him up against people that actually are worth a damn. Not fucking Damian Priest. And I hope we end up getting that Punk feud, and I like to see them teasing it here, man. That was actually a great part of this segment. I love, Punk shoving Gunther to the ground. I thought that was a foreshadowing on a feud that I think a lot of people want to see.
Exactly. I think that was, and I think that is, like you said, a setup to maybe a lot of people are saying SummerSlam. I don't think it'll be at SummerSlam. I think that's more of a probably a Mania feud, but either way, dude, setting up a feud that everyone wants to see. I like that. Overall, a nice segment, and I like the way it transitioned, from point to point. And really, man, that tease is something I'm really excited for.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, Judgment Day. What, it's just like their fourth segment on the show? Fifth?
Bro.
Judgment Day. Finn is he's in the back and he's talking with the rest of the group, and he asked Raquel how she feels about Roxanne taking Liv's spot. She says she knows that Liv has a shoulder injury, and she's already going to rehab 2 to 3 times a day. She's going to be back soon. But Finn tells her, well, I wanted Roxanne to step in as champion because so you can stay champion. He says, let's all take a vote or let's all take a vote on who wants Roxanne to join the Judgment Day. JD and Finn say yes. Dom and Raquel, they give it some thought. They're not so sure about it. Dom says, I need to talk to Liv about this. Finn says, no. Just make Liv proud. Make your own decision. Make her proud. Dom says, all right, I guess. Roxanne kind of the same thing. Not really sure, but she says yes. So Roxanne is now in the Judgment Day. Roxanne says she just wants... yeah, right? She just wants Judgment Day to stay on top. She looks at Dom and says, anything they need, I'll do it. Wow. She hanging out with Kiana James or what?
Apparently they got another one who's, quote, for the team, per Michael Cole.
For the fucking team. Why did you say that? I don't think so.
Cole had no idea what he said back then, but she's in the Judgment Day, so another year of the Judgment Day.
She's gonna do anything they need. So, she says she wants to start with getting revenge on Kairi Sane for Liv. Raquel tells her they are on the same page with that one. It's official. Roxanne Perez is in the Judgment Day. It only gets repetitive from here, Roxanne. So I hope you can make it out the same way Rhea made it out. I hope you do not end up like Finn Balor.
God, I hope not.
So we then get a Kairi Sane video package talking about her accolades in WWE. She says she does not avoid the storm, she runs into it. She says she is the Pirate Princess. Actually, she said the Pirate Princess is here. I thought the Pirate Princess has been here the whole time, but okay. If
she wasn't that until now.
That's what floats your boat, then all right. So, we then get Bayley versus Lyra. The match was pretty good. And these two are giving each other roll-ups. It's a roll-up fest. These two end up, just going back and forth. They then get into Lyra's in like a bridge, but her shoulders are on the mat. And Bayley's obviously shoulders are on the mat too. And the match ends. And these two, without even knowing it, have gotten themselves in a draw. The referee calls it a draw. These two start shoving each other. They then start brawling all the way into the crowd and then end up being separated. So obviously, what this means is for the IC championship at Evolution, probably going to be a triple threat match, which is the best way to go. That's the best way to include Bayley, Lyra, and Becky. And I'm just very glad Bayley's gotten a nice little story out of the whole Mania thing. I'm glad that they've actually capitalized and they've actually they're doing they're telling a good story with Bayley. This is better than a lot of the shit that she was given when she was the WWE Women's Champion. So I can appreciate this, and I like that. Like I said, they're actually putting forth some sort of storyline effort with Bayley here.
Exactly, dude. I like what they're doing with everybody involved. I like the attitude of Bailey, the attitude of Lyra, Becky. I like how everything's coming together. And obviously, this just further sets up that triple threat.
We get CM Punk backstage. He's doing an interview with Jackie. He says Seth Rollins' knees have not worked like that, have not worked that well in years. But all of a sudden, now they want to work when he's trying to run away from me. He says he's got receipts for Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman, Braun, and Gunther. Braun, I like that. He says,
Interesting.
he says,
Braun.
he says, and Gunther. He says, anyone else who wants to get in my way. He then looks over. He says, hold on a second. He walks up to LA Knight. He says, he says, hey, when it comes to Seth Rollins, I'm first in line. He tells Knight to get to the back of the line because Seth belongs to him.
Whoa.
I know.
I didn't know
So
it was like that, but I guess.
I guess it is like that.
Enemies to lovers, apparently.
He said LA Knight tells Punk. He says the match is at Saturday night's main event and it's already announced. So as far as me getting to the back of the line, I am the line. Yeah. And he walks away. Punk obviously frustrated. What I took away from this the most, two things. Three things. First, Lord, is it nice to see LA Knight on Monday Night Raw? B,
So refreshing.
it is wonderful to see him away from the bloodline. And C, it is nice seeing him operate with guys like Seth, and especially here, guys like Punk, top stars, top level guys. It's so nice, again, doing all of those three things I just listed. He is mixing it up with the main event guys and top level stars like Rollins and Punk. And my God, is it nice to see this guy away from the bloodline. It is it's very refreshing. It's very refreshing to see him, like I said, on different shows, and like I said, just his interaction with these guys. It is very, very, very nice to see. And again, we keep hearing about him moving over to Monday Night Raw. I hope they make this whole thing permanent sooner rather than later, just because it's already just so refreshing.
It is, dude. It is. It's really refreshing. I like the new people he's mixing it up with, and he feels way more important than he did on SmackDown, man. So I hope this little step into Raw becomes permanent real soon. And I think he will be going to Raw anyway in the draft, but it's just please just basically who cares about the whole draft? And just put him on Raw right now.
Yeah, you might as well. You might as well.
hmm
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, you might as well put him on Monday Night Raw already, man. I think that would be the best for everybody. Um,
Oh yeah.
Sammy is in the back getting his ribs taped up. Penta walks up to Sammy and he asks him if he's good to go for tonight. Sammy stands up, does the Cero Miedo, and him and Penta walk out to the ring. This was one of the more interesting segments. They're in gorilla position, and Bronson Reed is standing there next to Paul Heyman, and Bronson asks Paul, he says, "Where is the visionary?" And Paul says that Seth got a private jet home to perfect Plan B. Bronson looks a little confused. He says, "What is Plan B?" Braun walks up and he says his plan is to smash anyone in their way.
Oh.
Wow.
Or Sunday night in Punk, or technically Punk and Seth, and now you got Braun trying to smash a bunch of guys. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting wordplay here. You got Roxanne, she's gonna do anything, for the group. It's very interesting wording on this show, man. But
Yeah.
no, very interesting perfecting Plan B. I think we might be seeing at least one new member, if not two, very soon to this group.
That is
Hopefully then they can get a fucking name.
that is exactly what I thought when he said, Rollins is going to perfect Plan B. First of all, I thought it was interesting that the other members were not in tune with what was going on there. So I thought that was a little interesting as well. But he's going to perfect Plan B. The main thing I thought was that man was. There may even be a shot that we see him on NXT tomorrow in the background to a segment or talking to somebody in the background. Maybe he wanted to catch an early flight to home. He said private jet home. Obviously a lot of these WWE guys live in Florida. NXT's taped in Florida. So I wouldn't doubt it if we seen something with Rollins where he's in the background, or if they wanted to be real bold about it, they could have the man, just show up on NXT and talk to somebody about joining the group or whatever. So that's exactly what I thought. I think we could be seeing a new member here, especially with the more and more, you kind of start to see the babyface Avengers kind of, assemble. And obviously the baby faces, they got Penta, they got Sammy, they got Punk, they got LA Knight. There's four, there's probably even more I'm forgetting. They have, so many baby faces they match these guys up against, but and obviously there's only three of them. So that's exactly what I thought Plan B was. And Heyman then tries to elaborate a little more. He says there's gonna come a time when, and then Braun interrupts, telling production to hit his music. They did a mashup for these guys. It was actually a lot better than the first mashup we seen, where they were kind of just mashing up between between songs. It was a lot better, I thought.
It was. It was much more of a successful, tag version of their themes combined than the last one. So yeah, much better than it was the last time.
Definitely there. We then get the main event. Braun and Bronson versus Pentagon and Sami Zayn. This one, it was a decent main event. Sammy suplexed Bronson Reed. Straight up suplexed the man. And then he turned around into a spear. And that was the end of the match. Turned around into a spear from Braun Breaker. And Sammy was then pinned for by Braun for a Braun and Bronson victory. These guys, Penta was checking on Sammy. As the match was over, Braun is standing in the corner of the ring. Bronson, looking at Penta, just points behind him, and Penta just slowly turns around. He slowly just turns around as if he had no idea what was going on, and then just gets met with a mean spear. He gets speared by Braun, and these guys get attacked. And main event, Jey Uso comes out for the save. You know, he's another babyface, a part of the babyface Avengers. I forgot about that. So yeah, he these guys ran off. These guys, and that's another thing too. These guys ran off Braun and Bronson here. So again, the baby face kind of, I mean, again, what is that? Penta, Sammy, Jay, LA Knight, CM Punk. That's 5 guys, and then there's 3. So I could easily see another 1 to 2 members being added to this group, for sure. So yeah, that was that, and yeah, that was that. I'm glad that they have just kind of pumped the brakes on at least for this week of the amount of involvement Jay has been getting on the show. Obviously, we've seen a lot of the guy throughout WrestleMania season, so the build to and after a little bit for majority of his title reign. Obviously, we've seen him a lot, so I'm glad that they've kind of pumped the brakes on that a little bit. So I can appreciate that. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was Monday Night Raw. That was Monday Night Raw, and yeah, man, that was pretty much everything. That was pretty much everything for this week, man. So yeah, I mean, it was a decent episode of Monday Night Raw. Lots to talk about heading into Evolution and heading into what is Saturday night's main event and stuff. So yeah, yeah, like I said, decent amount to talk about. Not a horrible show. Obviously, a couple questionable decisions, but yeah. So that was that.
Exactly. One of the better Raws lately.
For sure. So with that, man, that is actually everything we have here today for you guys for the 254th edition of Unscripted. Thank you guys so very much for joining us here today for, like I said, another edition of Unscripted. It's been episode 254. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us here today on this episode of Unscripted. As always, it's been a pleasure for my Johnny.
And I, Sir K.
And that is gonna do it for this edition of Unscripted. Thank you guys so very much for joining us here today. And with that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you all on Friday with the news.
Peace.